They told me it was just an internet rumor, that the screams at night were from animals. They were wrong, dead wrong. It all started with a challenge. My YouTube channel had hit a dry spell, views dropping, comments slowing down. I needed a spark, something crazy, something people would share. That's when someone commented, "Bet you wouldn't last a night at Blackridge Asylum." I had heard the name before, Blackridge, a mental institution shut down in the 80s after a scandal involving missing patients, cruel experiments, and suicides. Locals said it was cursed. Teens used to dare each other to break in. Most came out laughing, but a few came out shaking. Some didn't come out at all. Perfect content. So I packed my gear: flashlight, camera, backup batteries, snacks, a sleeping bag, and a digital recorder for the night. I went alone. Big mistake. I reached the asylum around 7:30 p.m., just as the sun dipped behind the hills. The place was a skeleton. Graffiti on the walls, broken windows, rusted metal beds still inside some rooms. The gates hung open, creaking in the wind, like they were waiting for someone to walk in. I did. Inside, everything felt wrong. Not scary movie. Wrong. Heavier, like the walls were holding their breath. I set up in the central hallway, right where the patient intake used to happen, with long corridors stretching out like arms to the west and east wings. It was 9:47 p.m. when I first heard something, footsteps, but not from my hallway, from the one leading to the east wing. I turned on my camera, quietly stood, and crept forward. The air smelled like wet wood and rot. My light flickered, and then I saw it. A figure at the end of the hallway, standing perfectly still, head tilted slightly. I called out, "Hello? Is someone there?" No answer. I blinked, and it was gone. I turned to leave, but the door I came through was now sealed shut with rusted chains that hadn't been there 15 minutes ago. And the hallway behind me, it wasn't empty anymore. I froze. The hallway that was empty minutes ago now had something at the far end, something not quite right. My flashlight, already dimming, began to flicker more aggressively. The beam barely lit 10 feet ahead, but I could swear I saw movement. Not fast, slow, deliberate, like someone dragging one foot behind them. I backed away, breath shallow. "It's just a squatter," I whispered. Probably just someone messing with me. But deep down, I knew that wasn't it. I turned and ran toward the central hallway, toward my sleeping bag, my camera setup, my only safe zone. When I got there, everything was gone. My gear, my bag, my food, even my camera tripod. It had all vanished. In its place was a single note written on an old prescription slip. "You shouldn't have come here." The paper looked like it had been burned around the edges. It smelled like sulfur. My heart thumped so hard I thought it would burst through my ribs. I whipped around, scanning the shadows. The air felt thicker, like walking underwater. Then the whispers began. Not in my head, not imagination. Real, clear, terrifying voices echoing down the halls. "Room 413. Don't let him out. He watches through the mirrors. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't move. I felt anchored, like the building itself was holding me there. Suddenly, all the hallway lights, dim and long dead, flickered back on, one by one, down the east wing, like a red carpet to somewhere I didn't want to go. But I didn't have a choice. I walked slowly, every step echoing like thunder. As I passed door after door, I noticed something horrifying. On each door was a name, scrawled in chalk, smeared with blood, or scratched into the paint. Names and dates of death. Some had the same day. Others just had question marks. Room 413 appeared at the end of the corridor. The door was different. Iron, not wood. No handle. Just a small, square window at eye level, fogged up, like someone had just breathed on the other side. I stared. Then suddenly, a face slammed into the glass. White eyes, no pupils, skin stretched tight over bone, a mouth that didn't move, but I could still hear it whispering, "Let me out." I fell back, heart racing. When I scrambled to my feet again, the door was wide open, pitch black inside. And then I heard crying, a child's voice, soft, distant. "Help me!" It was coming from inside the room. I should have walked away, should have run back to the chained entrance and clawed my way out. But I stepped in, and the door slammed shut behind me. Inside, room 413, it felt like I had walked into a memory, someone else's nightmare. The walls were covered in tally marks, thousands of them, scratched with nails, keys, maybe even teeth. A single bed stood in the center, straps hanging loosely from its corners. On the wall across from me, a massive cracked mirror. That's when I noticed something terribly wrong. My reflection wasn't moving. I stood still, blinked, tilted my head. Nothing. The mirror version of me just stared, unblinking, unmoving. Then slowly, it raised its hand and waved at me. I turned to run, but the door was gone. Just smooth wall now, like it had never been there. I screamed. The reflection smiled. Then I saw it. Behind my reflection in the mirror, a shape. A man in a lab coat, mouth sewn shut, holding something metallic in one hand. His eyes, black, no whites, no soul. He leaned forward and whispered something into my reflection's ear, and that's when my reflection moved on its own. It began scratching tally marks on the mirror with its fingernails. One by one, I backed away to the corner of the room, hyperventilating. Suddenly, a horrible pain shot through my hand. I looked down. My fingers were bleeding, skin peeled, nails cracked. Even though I hadn't moved, my hand looked just like the one in the mirror. I was becoming the reflection. I don't remember how long I sat there. Hours? Days? Time didn't exist in room 413. Eventually, the crying voice returned. "Help me!" But this time, it was louder, clearer. And then I saw it. A small boy, no older than 10, crawling out from under the bed. Pale, eyes red, arms covered in stitches. He looked at me. "Don't let him out." "Who?" I croaked. The boy pointed at the mirror. "Him." Then he was gone, vanished. vanished, and the mirror cracked, a web of lines spreading outward from the reflection's eye. A deep growl echoed in the room, the kind that vibrates your bones, the kind you feel, not hear. The wall behind the mirror split open, a passageway, pure black, and from inside, something crawled out. Long limbs, no face, just a jaw, rows and rows of teeth. It didn't walk, it twitched forward. I turned and ran, through the wall, through empty hallways that twisted like a maze. The asylum had changed. Corridors now looped in circles. Doors led to brick walls, and rooms repeated endlessly. Everywhere I went, mirrors showed wrong versions of me, some screaming, some burning, some already dead. Eventually, I collapsed in front of a door that wasn't like the others. It was the main exit. I grabbed the handle, pulled hard, and it opened. The cold night air hit me like a tidal wave. I tumbled outside, gasping, crawling away from the building. I passed out in the grass, under the stars. When I woke up, I was in my bed. My camera gear sat on my desk. Everything looked normal. I almost convinced myself it was a dream, until I stood in front of my mirror. There were tally marks scratched into the glass, and a note taped to the bottom corner. You brought something back with you. After that morning, nothing was normal. At first, I thought the tally marks on the mirror were leftover scratches. Maybe I'd had a nightmare and did it myself, but that didn't explain the note. Taped in the exact handwriting I saw on the prescription paper in the asylum. You brought something back with you. I peeled it off and flipped it over. No other words. But the paper smelled like sulfur again. That same burnt metal stench I remembered from the asylum. I couldn't ignore the signs. I tried to go back to my routine, to return to the job I hated and hang out with friends. But everything felt off. People would flinch when they looked at me too long, like they sensed something behind me. And then the reflection started moving again. At first, it was small things. I'd turn away from the mirror, and when I looked back, my reflection would still be facing away, or blinking when I wasn't, smiling when I wasn't. The worst part? I could feel it watching me. Then the dreams began. Every night, I'd wake up at exactly 3:13 a.m., drenched in sweat, after reliving the asylum hallway. But in the dream, the hallway never ended. Just door after door after door. And always, room 413 waited at the end. One night, I finally reached it, and someone was waiting for me inside. Not the boy, not the faceless monster, my reflection, except it wasn't me anymore. Its skin was stretched tighter, mouth wider, and its eyes completely black. When I screamed, it climbed out of the mirror, and I woke up screaming, clutching my bedsheets, only to find fresh tally marks on the wall above my head. Every night, a new one appeared. Every morning, I woke up more tired, more distant, and something kept whispering my name, even during the day. One afternoon, I stared too long at my reflection while brushing my teeth. It was frozen, not matching me at all, just watching. I said quietly, "What do you want?" It smiled. "To come back." The lights in the bathroom exploded, and when I turned to run, I saw him, the man in the lab coat, standing in the hallway mirror, jaw hanging loose like it had been broken and never healed right. His mouth began to stretch wider and wider until it ripped open, blood pouring out. I blinked, and he was gone. That night, I packed everything I could and checked into a cheap motel 2 towns away, just to think, to breathe. But when I checked the mirror there, more tally marks, same number. It was following me. That's when I knew I had to go back to the asylum. It took me hours to find it again. The building was boarded up, sealed tighter than before, but I knew the way in, the basement window I used last time. It hadn't been covered. Inside, it was worse. The air was suffocating. The walls groaned like they were breathing, and all the old hallway lights, dead for decades, were on, buzzing, flickering, like it had been waiting for me. I followed the hallway to the east wing, but this time the doors were all open, every room exposed, and each one had mirrors inside. Some were cracked, others were new, and in each mirror, different versions of me were trapped inside, screaming, crying, bleeding. I reached room 413. The iron door was gone. Now it was just an open archway. Inside, nothing had changed. The bed, the tally marks, the mirror, and a boy sitting cross-legged on the floor. His skin was decaying, eyes completely white. He looked at me and smiled like he'd been expecting me. "You brought him home," he said. "I didn't mean to. You let him out." I dropped to my knees. "How do I stop this?" The boy tilted his head. "You can't." And then he stood and pointed to the mirror. "That's the only way back." I stood up, trembling. The mirror was glowing faintly. My reflection no longer stood still. It looked like it was trying to scream, but no sound came. I took a deep breath and reached out. The moment my fingers touched the glass, it melted, became liquid. I was pulled through, not pushed, like falling into a pool of ice water. I woke up in darkness, not asleep, not dreaming, awake, but I couldn't move. My body was strapped to something cold, my arms and legs bound tight, and above me, lights, the same flickering, buzzing asylum lights. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. My mouth was sewed shut, just like the man in the lab coat. I looked around, eyes wide. I was in room 413, but now on the bed, and through the cracked mirror across from me, I saw my body, standing there, watching, smiling. It waved and walked away. Days passed, maybe weeks. I don't know. I can't sleep. I can't move. But sometimes I see others come into the room. Explorers, paranormal YouTubers, curious teens. They walk in, they touch the mirror, and they disappear. One by one, they join us in the mirror world. And that reflection that walks away, it replaces them, lives their lives, like nothing happened. That's what it wanted all along, to trade places, to walk in your skin, smile with your face. That's why room 413 exists. It's a gateway, and once you open it, you never come back. You're probably wondering how this story reached you, who's telling it, or it is I generated. Well, look into your mirror, really look, and ask yourself, is that really you staring back? Or did something follow you home?